Welcome back to Dakota Midday. I'm Paul Guggenheimer. Last month on this program, we visited with a Rapid City woman named Paulette Kirby, who was in the midst of wrapping up her training for a 400-mile race that began at the tip of South America on the island of Tierra del Fuego and included sea kayaking into the Strait of Magellan and climbing in the Andes Mountains of Patagonia. So now the question is, how did she do? Is she feeling okay? We know she's alive because she's joining us now on the phone from Rapid City. Paulette Kirby, welcome to Dakota Midday. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Paul.
Good to have you back. And how did it go?
It was a great experience. It was tough. It was, I think, is one of the greatest experiences I've had in my entire lifetime. And my summation answers that I want to go back.
And how did you do? Did you win?
No, we didn't win. Wouldn't that have been nice? No,
yes.
On average, 3 out of 15 teams are able to complete this race, and I'm getting used to what happens in adventure races is whether sometimes you're not allowed to finish, and there were some very stringent time cutoffs when we got down to about 420 kilometers into the race, and a little sooner than that, it caught 8 teams, and we were one of the teams. And so we weren't allowed to finish the race. So that was very disappointing, but still quite an accomplishment to get in the race where we did, which was 420 kilometers.
And how long has it taken for you to recover from all this?
I'm ready to go again. I felt good. I was very well trained for this race. As we talked about before, it's a lifestyle of mine. So typically what takes the blunt of the races like this is the feet, and my feet held up well. I have to mention we had some great support from a couple of sponsors, and it made a significant difference in my preparation. Wenger, who puts the race on, and then Eddie Bauer sponsored our team and provided us with some of the best gear, so I was never cold, and we had one other sponsor for some socks that I had never used, and I took a leap and used all of this as kind of new equipment and gear for me just before going to the race, and not using my tried and true stuff. I had no blisters, although there were many other people who didn't fare as well. They weren't able to walk at the end of the race. People are limping around, and I had a little extra time there because we were out of the race a little early, so I was out trekking and running on the ocean. So I was well prepared, and I feel good. I've still got 2 toes that don't quite have all their feeling back yet, and other races I've done like this, it takes 6 to 8 weeks sometimes before the feeling in my toes come back. Wow.
Now, last time we had you on, you felt a little bad because you weren't able to mention the teammates that you have with you. So this will give you an opportunity to mention those who took part in this race with you.
Yeah, I think the teammates and also the sponsors. I mean, one thing that I wanted to mention that I have a little greater understanding of is the nature of this race and the people who participate in this race. It's called a race, but so you have people from all over the world. There's teams from Japan and Brazil. Only 15 teams are allowed to come. 4 members on each team, and there's no money. There's no reward except being able to participate in this race and doing as well as you can. Most teams are sponsored, and we were really fortunate. Wenger and Eddie Bauer were the sponsors. But Wenger, who puts this on, and the director, who's Stepan, who lives in South America, the goal is to keep this area where we go as isolated and unmapped and untraveled and wild as it is, and I think that's why I loved it so much. Is I've never been to a place so untraveled and wild. There are literally no trails, and there's 2 dirt roads. You don't get to swing into a store. There's 1 gas station on the whole island, so it's extremely isolated and incredibly beautiful. So it was. That's why the appeal for, I think, most people. Some people don't like to go to such an isolated area. So the goal of this race is to get a couple more big sponsors to keep this island from being developed this part of South America. So I really like that as the goal of this race. Sometimes they just set up races so people can go race. So I had, typically the teams are 4 members.
We're running out of time, Paula, so if you want to say their names, got to do it quick.
Bruce, Val, and Rubber were my teammates.
And in 5 seconds, will you do it again next year?
Definitely want to.
Okay, well, we wish you luck. We're glad you made it back, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Paulette Kirby, who took part in the 400-mile race in South America. I'm Paul Guggenheimer. See you tomorrow with another edition of Dakota Midday.